Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving.
I don't wanna take advice from fools.
You always won every time you placed a bet.
Money, that's what I want.
Contrary to popular belief, I found out the past few days it is possible to get 100% of the people to agree on something. Hello, folks. I'm Joe Duffy, CEO of offshoreinsiders.com. A lot of people in the industry I've known for a long time. We've been exchanging kind of bulk emails back and forth. People saying, have you ever heard of this guy, Steve Stevens? CNBC has announced they're going to come up with a handicapping reality show starring a guy by the name of Steve Stevens. And from their press release, it says they're going to follow this guy around, his stable of agents, and the clients who risk big dollars in the hope these guys have the expertise to consistently deliver winners. Then the press release continues, there's a lot on the line, as we follow gamblers who wager a few thousand each week to whales who routinely make six-figure bets. But this has shades of the old HBO special where Stu Feiner went up against a girl, a dog, and a then completely unknown handicapper of Lou Diamond. Well, the media has created yet another handicapper that nobody has ever heard of. But just before we went to press, just before we wanted to go to this, made this video, got to give credit. A major website, Wager Minds, has investigated this guy and found out he's got a shaky past. So whether this show will actually make it to the air remains to be seen, but the pilot is supposed to debut in September. Now, his trailer that we saw on his website, it's replete with a bunch of F-bombs and this and that, and boiler room sales straight out of the Jack Price, Johnny DeMarco, Stu Feiner, hardcore sales where he's claiming he's got all kinds of information, and then the salespeople curse at you and tell you, you're an idiot and this and that. Now, ironically enough, as it turns out, about a year and a half ago, I was contacted by a casting director who wanted to start a handicapping reality show. I assume this is it. I don't want to get too technical. I don't know if those of you are familiar with IMAP, but that's where my emails were, and I had a server emergency. We ended up losing the email correspondence with that and a bunch of other emails. Can't remember exactly what her name is, but I do know that when I looked her up on IMDb, she had casted for quite a few reality shows, and her dad was some type of bigwig in the industry. Those of you who know me personally, I'm not much into, the entertainment industry, this and that, but she was 100% legitimate. But I was very honest with her from the beginning. I said, why don't you take a look at my YouTube channel, youtube.com/offshoreinsiders. I get kind of technical there. I think that I would be of interest only to the hardcore gambler and the professional bettor, but as far as something that would appeal to the general public, no. Unless you want to go after the old lady pervert audience, because I work now completely from home, from a dungeon in my house, office, downstairs, work mostly in my underwear, TMI, I know, but does that make really compelling reality television? Absolutely, positively not. But if you want somebody who can pick you winners, then that's what I am. Now, here's what I would love to see. I will still watch this CNBC show with an open mind. Here's what I hope to hear that this Steve Stevens guy says, I have great information. Here is where I get the specific information. Here is specifically where I get this precise information. I doubt it. But look, I'm a handicapper. I talk to Sharpies all the time. I got an open mind, always looking for a new place to get an edge. Will I find it on this CNBC show, Money Talks? I strongly doubt it. But I will watch it with an open mind. I don't know. I'll watch it with an open mind, but that's not to say that I won't have a certain amount of cynicism. Here's what I expect to hear. And I am in the prediction business. I expect that Steve Stevens, somewhere when he was 13, he got his start in the gambling business. He worked as a dishwasher for some restaurant that was a front for the mafia, most likely in some northeastern city, and then eventually he became a runner, blah, 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 blah. I've seen that script quite a few times. My history in the industry and how I really got interested in gambling, not quite as exciting. What happened was I grew up in the Philadelphia suburbs of South Jersey. Philadelphia Inquirer as far back as I can remember, I think at least since the early 70s, they used to run a contest where they would have, I believe it was 10 or 15 sports services, would make 5 picks a week against the spread in the NFL, and it would be a season-long contest. I said, you know what, I'd like to do this. Now, I was not an official entrant, mind you. I was an armchair or a couch potato entrant. I would use those exact lines, their exact rules, make 5 picks a week. The first year that I, quote-unquote, entered the contest, I won. There was no gilding the lily, but I beat every single solitary sports service. I would even cut out from the newspaper what their picks were. I would put up the W's and L's. I don't even think it was really calculated until the following Friday, and I won. And I participated in it for quite a few years, and I always finished at or near the top. And that's where I really started to become interested in handicapping. And then a lifelong, not only sports fan, but a radio nerd. I used to listen to a radio show on WCAU, AM in Philadelphia, hosted by Mickey Charles. He would do a handicapping show Friday and Saturday nights on a 50,000-watt station, and I would hear the handicapping theories and techniques of some of the pretty legitimate ones. I think Mike Lee was on there. All the people who were big names back in the 70s and early 80s were on his show, and I really became enthralled like a sponge with all those handicapping techniques that were discussed. Then it would happen while I was in college. My first job in the industry was with Dial Sports, a company out of Philadelphia, which begat the Sports Network Wire Service, which is a big company now, and it was owned by none other than Mickey Charles himself. And every single day since that, my junior year in college, I have either been full-time in the handicapping industry as a handicapper, gambler, professional gambler, and also score phone announcer, or I did finish off my schooling for another 3 semesters. I was a full-time student, but I haven't done anything else. This has been my full-time occupation and invocation since then. So again, is that going to make as exciting television as the script that I assume is going to happen, and a guy who's cursing all the time at his clients and running around Las Vegas, allegedly having people place bets with him and sitting in a sports book? Quite frankly, no. So watch this Money Talk show, most likely for the sizzle. But if you want the steak, the prime steak, the great picks that I compile winner after winner, all right, TMI, mostly in my underwear from my home office, but the advantage is I'm leisurely. It enables me to put in 12 to 15 to during football season and basketball season, literally 16 hours a day. Sometimes I'll take a little time off, go play with the kids, but I'm sent there working. Like I said, the sizzle will be on CNBC, but the steak is at offshoreinsiders.com. Joe Duffy's picks are the anchor of offshoreinsiders.com. Again, visit me at www.offshoreinsiders.com. Please subscribe to me on iTunes, on YouTube. We're now carried by Stitcher, TuneIn, a couple of the other major podcast sites. Offshore Insiders, one word. Look us up, subscribe to us, and visit us at the winningest sports site in the world, www.offshoreinsiders.com.